On January 8th, Texas A&M announced Scott Woodward as its new athletics director. He started the job in earnest in February, about 2 months in now, and we check in with Texas A&M's AD right here inside 12th Man Studios in the south end zone of Kyle Field. And Scott, it's been kind of a whirlwind tour for you since you began, I know, so thank you so much for the time.
Oh, glad to be here.
When we started off, one of the things you mentioned right away was your first task was to listen and to learn. You've gotten a little time to listen.
Yeah.
What have you learned about Texas A&M athletics?
Well, the most important thing, and the question I get the most is that are there any surprises? And I can sit here and say that every surprise has been a pleasant surprise. There's nothing that's alarmed me or shocked me or something that I didn't know. So from that standpoint, it's really it's been a good thing.
Mm-hmm. What we're coming off of recently, as far as the Aggies, the basketball team just completed one of their best seasons ever. Billy Kennedy, you just gave him a contract extension. What did you see there that makes you feel so good about Billy Kennedy, what he's accomplished, and the future of Aggie basketball?
Yeah, from day one, you just sense the genuineness and the goodness that represents everything that Aggie values are about. And not only that, he does it in a very good light as far as winning and losing. He's done something that's really special, getting to the Sweet 16. And for me, it was extending him for the hope of getting even further. And I think from what he's doing and how he's recruiting and how he's mentoring coaches that are getting head jobs to replacing them with great coaches is really an impressive thing. And I think Aggie fans are going to have a lot to cheer for in the future, and I think there's still a lot of upside to our basketball program.
Yeah, and I'm guessing in all your years in athletics, you've never seen anything like that comeback in round 2 against Northern Iowa, 12 down with less than a minute left.
Nor do I ever think we'll ever see anything like that.
I agree with you. That's a once-in-a-lifetime event.
Exactly.
Moving on to football, spring practices are in the books now. They'll go into off-season workouts. You've gotten your chances to sit down with Kevin Sumlin. What are your thoughts on the state of his program?
Very, very impressive spring, I thought. I really spent a lot of time going out to practices and watching the coaches coach, and I love the staff and that Coach has put together and who he has. Obviously, we're familiar with Coach Chavis, but Coach Mazzone and the offensive staff is really gelling and coming together, and I really like what I see, obviously, with the well-known return of Coach Turner and the way that offensive line's firing. I really like that cohesiveness, and I like the way that they're teaching and coaching up the kids. I think there's a good hope going into this season and going into, obviously, fall ball.
Also, we're in the midst of a very good baseball season. It's as difficult in baseball as it is in any sport in the Southeastern Conference, particularly in this league, in your past experiences. What importance is baseball to the SEC and the Aggies?
Yeah, it's very much so. You know, you'll look at both baseball and softball, because I'm going to bring them up because we're so dominant as a conference. I think 6 out of the 10 teams are top 10 teams in the Southeastern Conference, and it's just quite impressive, and our fans care about it, and we have a great support and a great venue in Bluebell Park and how we do things. It's just really a fun part of our lure and how we do it, and it's becoming a more and more popular sport, and it is competitive as heck, and we'll have a interesting rest of the season to watch. But just have to remember that, you know, just like everything else, how you do and how you peak at the end is what matters, and so watch closely, and we'll see where we end up.
Certainly, their stretch run in the postseason is right around the corner. And you mentioned softball.
Sure.
On your plate, facilities-wise, is that program. They're hoping for a new stadium soon. So is track and field.
Correct.
How do you feel about where those projects stand?
Very good. We're going to go before and make a presentation to the Board of Regents and try to convince them that it's in the best interest of Texas A&M and the athletic department to do these projects moving forward. I think obviously Coach Evans and Coach Henry have made the case that excellence is already achieved, and we just need to continue that excellence with new facilities going forward and continue the promise of great programs. And I think that arguably we have probably right now the worst facility in the Southeastern Conference in softball, and it's almost a shame that we cannot host an outdoor track event here on campus, and that's going to hopefully change, and we're going to make that case in point before the board in the coming weeks.
It's a great time to be here in College Station. Thank you so much for your time, Scott.
Thank you. Glad to be here.